The Morning Market Kickoff with your host, Tommy O'Brien. Now, Tommy O'Brien.
Good Tuesday morning, everybody. I'm Tommy O'Brien, coming to you live from TFNN just after 9 a.m. Eastern Time. We got about 24 minutes to go until the start of trading, and you got a mixed market going on right now. All the markets catching a little bit of a bid from the lows overnight. We'll start things off with the S&P. You're negative by just 7 points, and that's not that bad when you look where you were at about 3:30 in the morning. You're solid almost 30 points above the lows that we had last night. That low, 38.20. We're trading right now at 38.49. NASDAQ 100. Quite the sell-off yesterday in the opening bell. This morning, we're climbing higher. You make a low at about 3:30 in the morning of 11,758. We're approaching 200 points off of that low. Right now, the NASDAQ 100, the only index in the green right now. You're positive by 43 points. That's about 0.4% in the green. Dow off 145 points, approaching 31,000 in the Dow. You have the Russell right now negative by 5. Bitcoin under 20,000, 19,910. The price for Bitcoin. You jump to crude under $100. Look at that drop off recently. That acceleration begins at about 6:30 in the morning from 101.50 down to 98.50. Right now, we're chopping around between about $99 and $100 for the price of crude. I did notice that it seemed a little bit cheaper this weekend at the gas pumps, right? Maybe 440, maybe 430, maybe 460. As I was looking at some of those numbers, far off some of the highs that we saw in that market for sure. Gold contract right now, 1730. Yesterday, when is that volatility? That's last night at about 9 o'clock. We got dollar strength again this morning. You almost got parity with the euro. We'll jump over to that in a moment. And we got the 10-year climbing higher this morning by about 16 ticks, 118.28. Man, I mean, look at these moves just from where we were on Friday. We're now above where we were on Friday when you had the non-farm payrolls number come out. Very strong number. You see higher yields in the market, and just like that, you give it up. And let's see where we're sitting at right now. We are at 2.93%. 2.93. When I got off the program yesterday, we were right at 3%. Even that move, just in the last 24 hours, you're talking about 7 basis points after quite an extension. We'll take a look. Now, you get the 30-year up a full point and 4 ticks, well above where you were on Friday as well. Back to the 10-year real quickly, taking a look on a longer-term time frame. The 10-year, my goodness, right? Look at this recent volatility, man. This year alone, okay, you kick off the trading year at about 130. You make it all the way down to 114.07. Now, put these areas on your charts, folks, because you're talking about a high recently on May 25th. That high is 120.26. Look where we got up to recently, 120.16, within 10 ticks of that high, okay? That's similar to the high you also had in April, just off of that one little peak that you got back in early April as well. Maybe that becomes an area of resistance. We'll see. 120 and change, we'll call it. Right now, you're at 118.27. You make it all the way down to 114.07. But we got yields at 2.93%, well off the highs that we had at one point. You were talking about 3.5% there when we were at market lows. Interesting enough, that's when the Fed started jacking things up with 3/4 of a point rises. June 15th, always kind of a turning point when the Fed comes out with that type of action. All right, and we jump over to the VIX as we wrap up the market wrap up this morning. And you got the VIX this morning, 26.72. Interesting action in the VIX recently, as in you're not seeing huge gains in the VIX, even when the market sells off dramatically. I mean, for reference here, right, we have the VIX trading at 26.72. We closed out Friday's action at 24.43. We were at about 27 this morning. Well, folks, in context here, from where you were in the S&P, you traded down 100 points from where you were Friday to where you were on Tuesday. That's a 2.5% move in the S&Ps right now. And the VIX barely moved up 2 points, right? You were at a low as you came into the close of Friday's action. That correlated to probably the high of Friday in the market at 24.43. And even when you have the S&Ps trading down 100 points from where it was on Friday, the VIX barely edged up 2 points, 2.5 points. Point being, a lot of volatility priced into this market already. The market very comfortable with 1%, 2%, 2.5% swings in the S&P because the VIX is not going anywhere anytime soon, sitting at 27, very comfortable in the high 20s in the VIX. And that's been the case for the better part of this year. Just zooming in as we did on the notes and bonds, there's your action on this year alone. The low of that chart outside of the first couple weeks of the year, I've talked about it many times, man, 1845, the low. There were years we didn't touch 18 for the longest time. Meanwhile, we haven't seen 18 below that price level since, what is that, January 13th? Yeah, January 13th. We haven't seen below price level of 1845 in the VIX. I imagine that's going to stay for some time. We get CPI data out this Wednesday. We got some earnings coming out that we'll jump around to a bit. And let's start things off as we jump around to what I have pulled up here. And we'll start it off with the dollar index. Why not? Check out the action, right? I mean, it's just remarkable how this thing just keeps climbing. I'm going to pull up the euro dollar in a moment on the Thinkorswim platform. But right now, even from July 4th, folks, we were trading at 105 in the dollar index. We're now well above 108. This thing is not slowing down. Now, this thing only goes back a month. Okay, you pull up the 6 month. That's a one-way trip, man. From talking about trading February 2nd at 95. Where's this go back to? 94 and change 6 month. Let's go year to date. We were a little bit higher to kick off the year, the high 95s. Just a remarkable acceleration. Even from June 27th, we had a 103 handle in the dollar index. We're now above 108 in the dollar index. We jump back to the Thinkorswim platform, and we pull up the euro US dollar, barely above it, and we did go under that level briefly. We'll pull up the 15-minute. Is that enough decimal points for you? 0.99991. Just got under parity, and then from there you catch a bounce. It's almost too easy sometimes. That's a nice trade, right? Wait for it to touch parity, buy it, you're up a bit. I imagine that's not the last time we touch parity, though, in the euro US dollar. You take a look at the daily. It has been quite a fall. I pulled up the dollar index. So at a time that you have the dollar index, right, going from like 96 to 108, you got euro US dollar going from 114 down to basic parity. I've talked about if you're planning a trip in Europe, get some euros, man. Lock it in. Why not? Your risk-reward ratio, even if you're holding them for a bit. There will be some type of recoil here, folks. The dollar is not going to go up forever. Europe is facing some risks that the U.S. is not. And we're going to deal with some issues with the strong dollar. But in the long run, folks, a strong dollar is a good thing. We are all part of one globe. And yes, you're going to see. This is going to be a hamper. We're kicking off earnings season. I was listening to Bloomberg earlier this morning. They were talking about, it just keeps going, man. The dollar just keeps going. That's going to be something that they're going to be talking about on this earnings cycle. But the bottom line, folks, when we're in currencies buy things. And you saw what happened in commodities, okay? In the long run, yes, sometimes it's very difficult for companies to make money when you're dealing with a strong dollar, because overseas it is very difficult. Imagine being a European traveling to the U.S. right now. Your vacation just went up by 15%. Easy, if not more, when you talk about what you're spending, where you're spending, and when you lock that in. Many people planning their trips, right, well in advance. If you're talking about a year across Atlantic trip, many people planning those trips well in advance of a year. You're talking about going from 120 to 1 flat like that. Big effects in a big way. This is going to be an interesting open. We get the S&Ps now just negative by 7, trading at 38.49. NASDAQ 100 in the green at 47 points in the positive. Let's jump around to some of the FANG stocks. Amazon up a bit. It's Prime Day, right? Target's got a lot of sales too. We'll jump around. We'll see what's going on. We'll jump to Target when we come back. They got 72 hours of deals. A lot of these companies, though, I don't think marketing that well enough. Did you know that Target has 3 days of deals going on right now? We'll be right back, folks.
Vista Gold owns and operates the largest undeveloped gold project in Australia, the Mount Todd Gold Project. Vista Gold just completed their feasibility study, resulting in a 7 million ounce gold reserve. Vista Gold has all major permits approved and has retained CIBC capital market assistance in evaluating alternatives and in completing an accretive transaction. Vista Gold trades on the NYSE American and TSX under the ticker symbol VGZ. Vista Gold, executing a strategy to create shareholder value.
Everything in the universe is governed by the Fibonacci sequence. This mathematical principle is responsible for everything from the most aesthetically pleasing artwork to patterns in the stock market. To stay on top of stock patterns you can take advantage of, sign up for the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter at TFNN.com. When you subscribe, you'll get a weekly report from veteran day trader Larry Pesavento on stocks you need to pay attention to. And you can trust Larry's analysis. After all, he's got 45 years experience as a day trader. Larry will also provide daily charts, videos, and data on the key markets that he's tracking. Expect notifications from Larry on market movement you need to act on at any time. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. Subscribe to the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter today. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Steve Rhodes started his trading career as a student almost 20 years ago, and the student has now become the master. Steve won the prestigious Timer of the Year award in 2018 and barely missed that mark again in 2019, finishing at number 2 for the year. An amazing accomplishment. Steve Rhodes is committed to sharing his techniques and knowledge with anyone who wants to learn, and he shares his vast amount of trading knowledge every day in his Mastering Probability newsletter. Steve's award-winning newsletter, Mastering Probability, is delivered every trading day with updates throughout the afternoon. Sign up for Steve's market newsletter, Mastering Probability, and you'll receive access to 7 of Steve's educational webinars absolutely free. At TFNN, all our newsletters come with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have absolutely nothing to worry about. Visit TFNN.com and try Mastering Probability 30 days risk-free today. TFNN, educating investors.
TFNN has launched the Tiger's Den, hosted at Discord. TFNN has been educating traders for more than 20 years with live programming hosted by a variety of professional traders during market hours. The Tiger's Den, available to all tigers and tigresses for just $1 for the year. There's no catch or added costs when you join our community of traders. Sign up today and become a part of this educational community of traders. Just visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Welcome back, folks. We have the S&P futures right now, negative by just 8 points, trading at 38.48. We're as low as about 38.20 overnight. NASDAQ 100 currently in the green by about 43 points. Let's jump over to our man, Kevin Hincks. Every trading day, folks, 12 noon Eastern time, right here on Tiger TV, the TD Ameritrade Network with Fast Market, with your host, Kevin Hincks, Tom White. They do an outstanding job, folks, of breaking down the day's market action. They walk you through hypothetical trade setups, talking about options and every single trade setup that they have. Defined risk, folks, in this market, man. You talk about some volatility. Kevin Hincks, good morning.
Good morning, Tommy O'Brien. Yeah, today will be an important day ahead of tomorrow's inflation data. The news this morning from the NFIB, I think we're going to change the name, Tommy. It's currently the NFIB Small Business Optimism Index. I think we should call that the Small Business Lack of Optimism Index, Tommy, because that number came out 89.5, Tommy, and for some of the metrics here, most importantly, the business owners expecting conditions to get better over the next 6 months, now 61%, Tommy, a 48-year low in terms of optimism for the economy. And so their chief economist, William Dunkelberg, says, the immediate challenges facing small businesses include inflation, worker shortages. The outlook for economic policy is not encouraging, either as policy talks have shifted to tax increases and more regulations, Tommy. So pretty bleak statement coming out of the NFIB on basically what you can claim, Tommy, is about 70% of the U.S. economy, which is small business.
Yeah, that's pretty intense, man. And you look at the next, I've been throwing around the phrase for a while now, though. Time flies. 3, 6, 12 months, whatever that may be. A period of high volatility coming down on us, man. Very tough to be so optimistic. I would probably agree as somebody in a small business, right?
Yep.
there's a lot of volatility, man, when we are dealing with a print tomorrow where you're looking for a number that might come in at 8.8% headline. At that high, it's very real that you see a 9% when you're 0.2% away from that number. And meanwhile, we have a Fed that is dead set on getting that number under whatever they want to say, 2, 3, 4, 5% would be a gift right now, I think, for the headline number. And we get CPI numbers tomorrow, and we have a Fed that's coming down the line potentially later this month with their second 75 basis point hike, right? I mean, you throw all that together, man. Where do you find the optimism? And we come into earnings season, Kevin, to kick things off. You got Pepsi out already. Some decent numbers. They're chopping around this morning. Not really a big mover on their earnings. I'm going to jump to the VIX for a second, Kevin. Now, the S&P, so I was looking at Friday's high. You're at like 39.22, Kevin. We trade down overnight to about 38.20. So about 100 points from the high on Friday to the low on Tuesday. And meanwhile, the VIX had a low on Friday of about 24.43, and we make it up to like 27. So that's a rise of 2 points. It's a rise of 2.5 points. But with the VIX so elevated, Kevin, I was reading some articles this weekend saying, even during some of the sell-offs, you haven't seen some of the spikes you might expect in the VIX because of the way the market's been chopping around. I was talking about maybe, this VIX is already so elevated at 25 in terms of the context of what that means. What's your take on how people maybe, for those that are looking to the VIX as a hedge? Because if you're looking to the VIX as a hedge, man, and you get in at 25 on Friday and the S&P goes down 100 points and maybe it's at 26, 27, what do you see? Is that the type of movement you want? It seems like it's not moving around that much, basically because it's just so high already.
Well, in terms of looking at the VIX is expected implied volatility for the future. And obviously the VIX goes down on the upside and the VIX goes up on the downside, Tommy. But if you think we're at or near lows, what happens to implied volatility is the skew on options starts to flatten. And what does that mean? Well, down at these levels, what you may be seeing is puts being sold and calls being bought. Maybe when we were up at the highs, you saw puts being bought and calls being sold. So now maybe it's the opposite here, and that may be causing so much of it of the VIX of volatility is driven by the puts, right? Out of the money puts. So if you've got net, flat trade or less buyers of out of the money puts, which you can justify 20% down in the S&P and 30% in the NASDAQ. Maybe there's just not the appetite for put buying down here that there was earlier, Tommy. So, yeah, the VIX has been higher, and so I think a lot of that has to do with a flattening skew. But, yeah, Tommy, I think it has more to do with that, where we've already been based on where we're expecting to go.
It's some great insight, man. That's why I asked the question. That's why I watched the program at 12 o'clock. Hadn't even considered this skew, Kevin, so I appreciate that, man. We get into earnings season, Kevin. We got some banks coming up later in the week. As I said, we got Pepsi out today. We got a lot going on in this market with CPI tomorrow. What are you guys talking about on the program coming up at 12 today?
Well, obviously, Folio is going to do a presentation on Delta Airlines. They have earnings coming out. We're going to look at Costco and that and how their sales have continued to impress. And then in the first segment of the show, we're going to look at Home Depot. Home Depot and Lowe's been under some pressure lately as the perception that working on your house is coming to an end, but yet they still continue to put up good numbers, Tommy. So Home Depot, Delta Airlines in terms of Folio, and Costco today.
Those airlines, three interesting stocks, man. The airlines especially interesting, the pullbacks they've had recently. I got Delta up on the Thinkorswim platform right now, trading at $29.29. I mean, geez, last year trading above 50, this year trading above 45. And, of course, oil prices still right near $100, even pulling back a bit. Well, Kevin, we appreciate the time. I appreciate the conversation as always, man, and we'll be watching at 12 o'clock today.
Have a great day, Tommy. Thanks for having me on.
Always a pleasure, man. Folks, tune in every trading day, 12 noon Eastern time. You heard it, three great stocks. I'm telling you, folks, we're coming into earnings season right now. There is a plethora of information that they put out there. You want to learn trading options. And folks, even if you're in equities, right, understanding the option market allows you to understand how the market is pricing, whether it's volatility, price expectation. You heard it, skew there in your equities, understanding that stuff, understanding implied moves coming into earnings events of any kind. Beneficial, even if you're just an equities trader. Check it out at 12 o'clock today. Outstanding job. Delta, man, right? Below the 618 now, where you look where they are. I had Home Depot up there. Home Depot kind of chopping around right at the 50% mark at 286.39. We jump over to Lowe's shares, not quite back to the 50%. That line about $160 on the price of Lowe's. Both of these stocks well off the highs, man. 263.31. All right, we jump to, it is Prime Day. So you jump to Amazon. Basically back to pre-pandemic levels. That's a tough one to swallow, man. It seems like even though that they're dealing with higher costs, right? They built out things quicker than they should have. They probably have excess inventory, right? That's why they lost money last quarter. That's why they may lose money this quarter, I believe. But back to pre-pandemic levels, I feel like some of our tendencies of buying things online have changed forever, and Amazon should be able to benefit from that. AWS should be able to benefit from our lives existing online in greater capacity than it did 2.5 years ago as the pandemic began. Nonetheless, it's Prime Day. We'll take a look at Target as well. Target, not quite back to pre-pandemic levels, but you're basically back to almost the beginning of 2020 on Target shares at 146. They got some deals going on as well. Stay tuned, folks. We'll be right back to the open.
Of booming inflation, where your purchasing power is eroded, there's no better place to protect your hard-earned money than in gold. Vista Gold's flagship asset is the Mount Todd Gold Project in the Northern Territory of Australia. This is Australia's largest undeveloped gold project. We are talking a world-class gold project in a Tier 1 mining district. This is a large-scale, low-cost project with significant existing infrastructure in a politically safe and friendly mining jurisdiction. Vista Gold just completed the Mount Todd feasibility study, which resulted in a 7 million ounce gold reserve and a 16-year mine life. All of this, combined with the approvals of all major operational as well as environmental permits. This distinguishes Mount Todd as an attractive, de-risk partner, ready development stage gold project. Vista Gold trades on the New York Stock Exchange under the symbol VGZ.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David Wright has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
Sharpening your skills as an investor is like getting better at playing a musical instrument. You have to practice, sure, but you also need excellent instruction from experts. At TFNN, you'll get advice and guidance from the authority in technical market analysis. And it's not just dry, tedious text either. TFNN airs live financial content streamed live on TFNN.com and TFNN's YouTube channel with Tiger TV, live every market day from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern, for free. Each host is an experienced trader and gives their take on the market while taking calls and questions live from around the world. From the moment the market opens until the closing bell sounds, Tiger TV has 8 different shows with expert hosts to help you make the right moves with your money. Watch online at TFNN.com or on TFNN's YouTube channel and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
This segment is brought to you by Thinkorswim. For more information, just click the Thinkorswim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Welcome back, folks. We got markets open, and you catch a little bit of a lift on the opening bell. S&P's climbing towards almost flat. NASDAQ 100, you're up by 67 points. That's more than 0.5%, 11,954. Dow just negative by 57 points. The Dow, you're up about 200 points from the overnight low you had. Is that at 7 in the morning? That low? Yeah, it sure is. 30,856. Look at this market catching a pop, man. Gotta love it. Russell negative by 1. Bitcoin inching towards 20,000 right now. You jump over. Natural gas climbing it again to 678 this morning. We're at 663 right now. Gold contract negative by $4, 17.27. And you jump to notes and bonds. We're sitting up about 18 ticks. Yes, 18 ticks in the 10-year. The 10-year trading right now with a yield of 2.93%. Okay, before we get into Prime Day, folks, did you see the images yesterday from the James Webb Space Telescope? This stuff is amazing. I could spend the whole hour, folks, doing a financial show about this, and you should know about it because they are phenomenal. So this thing, okay, the first images from the James Webb Space Telescope. This thing's a $10 billion project, I believe. It's going to replace the Hubble, okay? Now, check this out. It is the deepest and sharpest infrared image of the distant universe to date. That's the first deep field. This image of the galaxy cluster SMACS 0723, overflowing in detail. That's thousands of galaxies, including the faintest objects ever observed in the infrared, have appeared in the Webb's view for the first time. This slice of the vast universe covers a patch of sky. This is the part, folks, okay? You're going to see this picture, and you're going to go, my goodness, look at how amazing the universe is. Look at how many galaxies are present, and look at the beauty and the color and everything going on in these, okay? Here's the kicker. You think that's like the sky they're looking at? No. That covers a patch of sky, check this out, the size of 1 grain of sand held at arm's length by someone on the ground. So imagine you put your finger up in the sky and 1 grain of sand, you look at that spot in the sky, and if you zoom in far enough, this is what you are looking at. All right? Now, if you compare it to the Hubble, for type of clarity you're dealing with, here is the new James Webb Space Telescope, the clarity, the details, okay? Here's what we had in the Hubble. I mean, still pretty cool when you think about that that's a grain of sand, a comparable, okay? But vast difference in detail, and this is the first image. Now, they're going to be putting out more images this morning as well, so you'll see more articles tonight, okay? Google the James Webb Space Telescope if you want to check that out, folks. Absolutely amazing. Now, to illustrate, okay, I'm jumping around, but this is so cool, man. And I don't think everybody is going to see this part of things as well. They're going to see these pictures and go, wow, but they're not going to actually grasp how tiny that picture is in terms of a grain of sand, and then extrapolate that out to figure out how many galaxies are present in our universe. The human mind cannot comprehend these numbers, folks, okay? So check it out. This is basically an illustration of how tiny this area is, okay? And I'm going to play this from Twitter, okay? So it's going to zoom out. So there's the image initially, okay? You see it zooming out. You see it zooming out. It's zooming out to the sky. It's zooming out to the sky. You can't even barely see the area we were looking at anymore, okay? Imagine how many galaxies are present in the sky that we are just looking at in our universe when 1 grain of sand contains a picture of beauty that is something out of a comic book almost, okay? Absolutely amazing. We're dealing with this science out here that's coming right now. I mean, in the future, that will be taken for granted, but look at just the beauty of these galaxies and consider that this is literally a speck of dust in the sky that we are looking at as to how big the sky really is and what is actually out there. Whew. Okay, that was the best part of the show, man. That stuff's amazing. That was blowing my mind last night when I heard that was 1 grain of sand in the sky. Try and comprehend that one, man. And just realize, man, you think you know everything about the universe, folks. You think you got it all figured out. The universe is bigger than all of us, all right? That is just like, whew. All right, we'll jump around. All right, let's jump around and see what we got going on. Let's see how the markets are trading. We got markets in the positive. S&P positive by 1. We'll jump to Amazon. They're up 0.4%. It's Prime Day. Target, they got 72 hours of deals going on. Target's up 1%. Check that out. Walmart's doing no deals because they got cheap prices already, I believe, is what they put out. Walmart up about 0.2%. Now, I had this pulled up. Let me see. Where are we here? Yeah, so we got Amazon, their Prime Day, just pulling up the front page. I mean, they're going to have some good deals, folks. If you happen to catch the right product, I just pulled up Amazon.com. Okay, this is my account. $50 for a 32-inch HD Smart DTV. Are you kidding me? Marked down from $180. $50 for a 32-inch HD Smart DTV. Don't impulse buy it, okay? But if you need one, that's a heck of a deal, man. $50 for a 32-inch smart TV. Now you head on over to the front page of Target, target.com. Deal days started yesterday, runs today and tomorrow with Amazon Prime Day. So what do they got? They got 25% off Disney toys, clothing, and more. Here's the thing I'll say about this. Haven't really seen this advertised a lot. The only reason I'm aware of this is because I do this show. I've been finding information about Amazon Prime. CNBC had an article just talking about they weren't the only show in town anymore. Target was going to be running this, but I haven't seen any ads. Talked to my mom, I think it was this morning or yesterday. She, like many of us, shops at Target. She's a red card holder, right? So you get 5% off everything that you purchase there. So she shops there a decent amount because that's a great deal, folks. If you do shop at Target a lot, get that red card. I don't have one. I probably should. You save 5% on everything you get from Target, even if you just use that card from Target alone. Heck of a deal on some of the prices over there. She didn't know this was going on. She should know this was going on if they're doing their job. And I imagine that it'd be interesting to see how that plays out. Maybe some feedback in the den. Are people generally aware that Target has deals going on the same deal that Amazon Prime does? Because I've seen Amazon Prime ads. I've seen them on TV. I've seen the commercials, but I haven't seen anything for Target. But nonetheless, Target's up 1% right now, and Walmart's up 2%. Look at this market catching a bid. So Target's probably up more than that, 1.5% right now for Target. Amazon shares up 1% right now. That's not bad either. Let's check out the FANG stocks. Apple shares up 1.6%. It's not all about Prime Day, man. Look at the NASDAQ 100 sitting at 12,000 right now. We jumped to Peloton. So Peloton's up 4.7% today. They're not going to make any bikes anymore, folks. They're going to push out that product to somebody else. Probably the brightest decision they've made since that new CEO came in. Pulling up that article, let's get it up. Peloton, their new CEO comes in February. They're going to outsource all manufacturing as part of its turnaround efforts. One of the big problems, I don't know how they did it, man, because they made a heck of a lot of money selling a lot of bikes. They had delay times indeed. But for them to just forecast that things were going to continue as is, talk about blowing it, man. They were just buying manufacturing, bringing it all in-house. Demand dried up. Their earnings events, folks, had costs skyrocketing and had demand driving to the ground. That's a recipe for disaster. That's what happened. The founder and CEO was out. They got a new CEO in February. It's a great decision. They're going to be making originally all sorts of China. Yeah, they had big problems, right, with delays and stuff like that. I get that. But the money they spent coming into trying to do everything in-house, I mean, they talk about in this article, they don't even know what's going to happen yet. Check out the end of this article. I'll fast forward to. Let me see. What did they pay? They paid, how much, 480? All right, I'll get this up in a second. Yeah, here it is. They bought Precor for $420 million recently, and they don't even know. They haven't disclosed what's going to happen there. We'll finish up this conversation. We get right back, folks. Are you in the market for buying or selling real estate in the Bay Area, including the surrounding St. Petersburg, Tampa, and Clearwater markets? Tiger Real Estate LLC is a firm that has extensive experience in the Tampa Bay area. Whether you're looking to sell your current property for maximum value, or you're in the market for a second home or investment property, Tiger Realty has the experience across all areas of real estate in the Tampa Bay area to help buyers and sellers make the most informed decisions across all price levels. From the price you should be paying per square foot in certain up-and-coming areas to the type of cash flow investment properties are capable of creating, Tiger Real Estate can help you make the best decision when it comes to all areas of the market. Before you make one of the biggest decisions of your financial future, call Tiger Real Estate LLC today at 727-329-8322 or email us at tiger@tfnn.com. That's 727-329-8322. Call us today.
Technology around us is changing every day. With so much happening, it can seem impossible to keep up with all the information. David White's investment newsletter, The Technology Insider, is designed to give you all the information you need to understand the technology that shapes today's markets and tomorrow's future. David White has made his living staying on the cutting edge of technology. His weekly newsletter will give you specific recommendations for value tech stocks, as well as entry prices, target prices, and stops to set for each trade. Dave delivers his weekly newsletters every Friday with updates throughout the week. You can get the Technology Insider at TFNN.com for only $37.50. Sign up for David's newsletter, The Technology Insider, and get an inside look at everything the technology sector has to offer. Try it risk-free today with our 30-day money-back guarantee. TFNN, educating investors.
Will the S&P 500 continue to climb? For bold trades on U.S. large-cap stocks in either direction, trade SPXL, SPUU, or SPXS. Directions Daily S&P 500 Bull and Bear Leveraged ETFs. Direction Leveraged ETFs. An investor should carefully consider a fund's investment objective, risks, charges, and expenses before investing. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a fund's prospectus and summary prospectus, call 866-476-7523 or visit directioninvestments.com. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
This program is brought to you by Vista Gold, traded on the NYSE American and TSX under the symbol VGZ.
Welcome back, folks. The market's continuing to climb. S&P is up by 15 right now. NASDAQ 100 up 113 points. We got Peloton up there, up 3% today. 3%, though, you're only talking about 27 cents, folks, that is in the positive from a stock last year that was trading at $171 and is trading at $9, right? Percentages on small numbers can be deceiving. You're up 3.2%. And you're up 29 cents on a $9 stock that's traded down from $171 last year, that's traded down from $99 as recently as in October, that's traded down from $40 as recently as February, and that's traded down from a high of $32 as recently as late March, $9.21. But getting back to this article real quick, so Peloton, they're bringing everything in-house. Chief Executive Officer Barry McCarthy said this is a step for the company and to simplify its supply chain and fix its cost structure, which is a top priority. They have $800 million that they're getting off the books or something. Yeah, here it is. At the time that they had the new executive takeover, Peloton announced it was slashing roughly $800 million in annual costs. That's including 2,800 jobs, or about 20% of their force, corporate positions. It also will be walking away from plans to build a sprawling production facility in Ohio. Now, during the break, I was checking out the Precor part of this that they were talking about. So the company did not disclose any financial impact of this in its press release. It also wasn't immediately clear what it meant for Peloton's Precor business. If they're bringing all production in-house, okay, they bought Precor in December of 2020, okay? Do you remember where their stock was at that time? Let's pull it up. December of 2020. Basically, that was the high, folks, okay? What an ominous sign, right? You see companies like this ramping things up, buying companies for $500 million. They're going to make their own bikes and do everything themselves. That is a risky proposition. Things went about as bad as they could. So that's when they bought them, December of 2020, for $420 million. Peloton's entire business right now is worth about $3 billion. Okay, they bought that company for $420 million. So they didn't disclose the financial impact of this in the press release. It also wasn't immediately clear what this meant for the Precor business, which they bought for $420 million in order to expand its manufacturing capabilities in the U.S. Now, I pulled up an article from, I think this is February of 2020 this year, okay? Now, this is when they were losing the CEO of Precor at the time that this happened, but they have a little bit of information about Precor itself. So they bought it in December of 2020, and it sought to build out the production capacity and support its then views of strong future. Couldn't be much more wrong than that. And you know what? You're talking about China. They're making. I'm going to go back to the article. They're making all the bikes in Taiwan, though, and I think that's the deal. I'll pull it up. I thought that was a pretty smart route to get out of China. They're going to source it all out. They're going to source it out to Taiwan. Hopefully, nothing happens with China and Taiwan. Of course, that's a risk, but probably a better proposition than being in China itself. The acquisition at the time of Precor gave them 625,000 square feet of U.S. manufacturing capacity with in-house tools, fabrication, product development, quality assurance in North Carolina and Washington. That's quite an acquisition for $500 million, folks. 625,000 square feet of manufacturing with quality assurance in North Carolina and Washington. I imagine eventually there will be some value in this company, folks, okay? It just keeps dropping, though, but this could be the one because as an investor, you got a lot less risk when you're outsourcing your costs to produce your product, okay? They're up 2.5%. You would have been in trouble if you were jumping into this anywhere near the open or pre-market as you jump to 960 pre-market on that. But getting back to that article to try and see if I can find it because they're working with one company, Rexon. So let's see what they said here. Yeah, Taiwanese manufacturer Rexon Industrial. So they plan to exit all of its in-house manufacturing and instead will expand its current relationship with Taiwanese manufacturer Rexon Industrial in a bid to turn the money-losing business around. I mean, maybe you scale in. Market's not liking it too much. We just got a bid on the open, and this thing sold off. So I wouldn't be putting everything in there at $9. You're still worth $3 billion, and there's nothing to say you do get the turnaround in this company. But they got a lot of people paying a lot of money on a monthly basis. You know, they don't have a lot of people paying a lot of money on a monthly basis when they were valued at 20 times the company they are right now. Literally, they were pushing 180 folks. You're valued at $9. What is that, $60 billion? No, they're not a $60 billion company. They might be a $2 or $3 billion company, though. That's very real. When they turn things around, they outsource it. Nonetheless, Peloton trading at about $9.10. All right, let's see what else I had pulled up here as the show marches on. Yeah, gold. Man, you talk about dollar strength, all right? If you haven't checked out the gold report, folks, great time to do it. Head on over to the front page of TFNN. Every newsletter we do, folks, comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee, all right? Check out multiple. If you're in the gold market, okay, check out the gold report, and then go check out the Tiger Forex report by Teddy Kegstad, because you can lock in savings this month as a charter member on Teddy's service. Point being, you think you can trade gold without knowing what's happening with the dollar, with the yen? Not quite the case with right now what's going on. I mean, you look at the gold contract in other currencies, of course it's much different than the dollar, right? I mean, you could make the case that, yes, gold steadies near 9-month low as dollar rally powers on. And the gold contract probably could be lower, man, with the strength of this dollar index. I mean, this is some serious strength in the dollar index we're all aware of. Let's just put the gold contract on a 3-year weekly. All right? I mean, you're just chopping around. You're near the lower boundary line that we've been in for a while in the gold contract right now, pushing 1725. I mean, you are below this box I had drawn there. That correlated to kind of the lows you had last October. I mean, you did get down. Where's the next stop? Maybe this next stop is some of these lows we had in early 2021. You're talking about a low of 1673. Crazy. We're only $50 away from that price point. But yeah, you pull up the euro US dollar over that time. Look at that, right? Whoa, quite a different chart. Dollar index looking a little strong. Gold contract looking a little strong, continuing. Now listen, it goes beyond the euro US dollar, which is why you're seeing that happen. But eventually this will turn, folks, okay? Yeah, the euro did break par. You see the print on there, just below parity with a 9999 handle on the price of the euro US dollar. We're just above that level now at 10044. I imagine that's not the last time we touch parity in the euro US dollar. All right, let's see what else we had pulled up in terms of prior to the program. Talked about that James Webb Space Telescope. My goodness. Yeah, how about this one? Walmart. It's coming, folks, and it's coming quicker than probably we all realize. Shares of E-Maker Canoe are surging after Walmart agrees to buy 4,500 electric delivery vans. It's all going to be electric delivery. It's all going to be AI. It's just a matter of when, folks. You think about it. My son right now, he's just under 1.5 years old. And I say he's going to be 28 years old, just 28 years old in the year 2050. Imagine kids growing up today, man. What's the world going to look like in 2050? Right? Time flies, folks. I can't believe it. I've been in Florida for like 17 years. Moved down here when I was about 25, just after college in the year 2005 or so. Can't believe I've been down here 17 years or so now. But you think about where the future is going. It's going to AI, self-driving, and it's going to start out with the small little vehicles on the streets, all right? They're all going to be electric. And then it's going to go, of course, further and further to when AI catches up. It's going to take some time, but time moves quickly. Stay tuned, folks. We'll be right back to finish up the show.
TFNN has just launched their new trading room, the Tiger's Den. Hosted at Discord, TFNN has been educating traders for more than 20 years with live programming hosted by a variety of professional traders during market hours. And now they are expanding their reach with the Tiger's Den, available to all tigers and tigresses for just $1 for the year. There's no catch or added costs when you join our community of traders. In the Tiger's Den, you can look over the shoulders of Tom O'Brien and the other TFNN hosts while they analyze charts during their live Tiger TV programs, and join an interactive trading community with hundreds of members exchanging ideas. Interact with other tigers and tigresses as they share trading ideas, news analysis, and discuss the market action all trading day, even at night and on the weekends. The Tiger's Den at Discord is accessible on mobile or tablets as well, so it's always at your reach. To sign up today and become a part of this educational community of traders, just visit the front page of TFNN.com.
You might think that if you want to be successful at trading in the stock market, you're going to need a crystal ball. After all, it's impossible to predict the future, right? Like any endeavor in life, before you decide it's impossible, get some advice from the experts. You might find that it's not so impossible after all. For daily market overviews that give you direction on the key indices, selective stocks, and commodities, subscribe to the Opening Call newsletter at TFNN.com. The Opening Call newsletter is written by Basil Chapman, creator of the trading methodology known as the Chapman Wave. The Chapman Wave up-down sequence gives you an edge in identifying price turns, finding the peaks and valleys in stock prices. Get the Opening Call newsletter by Basil Chapman in your inbox every day. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know, and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Everything in the universe is governed by the Fibonacci sequence. This mathematical principle is responsible for everything from the most aesthetically pleasing artwork to patterns in the stock market. To stay on top of stock patterns you can take advantage of, sign up for the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter at TFNN.com. When you subscribe, you'll get a weekly report from veteran day trader Larry Pesavento on stocks you need to pay attention to. And you can trust Larry's analysis. After all, he's got 45 years experience as a day trader. Larry will also provide daily charts, videos, and data on the key markets that he's tracking. Expect notifications from Larry on market movement you need to act on at any time. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. Subscribe to the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter today. TFNN.com, educating investors.
This segment is brought to you by Thinkorswim. For more information, just click the Thinkorswim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Welcome back, folks. We got a chart of GM up here, up 2.1% today, trading at 31.52. With a question in the YouTube Tigers Den from our Tiger Steve talking about GM. Boy, this one's a tough one, Steve. You're back below the 618 of the entire move higher from COVID. You had a low of 14.33. You trade up, reach a double peak at about $65 last year. You hit that area just above it to start off this year. And man, I can't even find a bid this year in this stock. Right? It has been a one-way trip to lower prices. Yeah, you've had a couple pops here, but all you're dealing with is lower lows and lower highs. I would wait to see a sign of strength in that one before I started to step in. That's a one-way trip right now. Even in this market, right? Accelerating far below what the market's doing, as in you were at $67. You're more than cut in half from from the highs you saw earlier this year for GM. That's a tough chart, man, for GM shares. All right, let's jump around to some of the other FANG stocks as we kick it off. Amazon, they turn red. So much for that give up on the beginning, right? Amazon spikes to above 113. You're at 111.27. We jump over to Apple shares. They're still holding up 1.2% right now. We jump over to Target. Retail having their big days. Look at Target up 1.9%. Walmart shares up a full percent at 126.66. You jump around to some of the banks. So we get the banks this week. They're catching a lift right now. JP Morgan up 1.2%. Be interesting to see if they're getting a lift ahead of their earnings. Morgan Stanley, all of them, yeah. Morgan Stanley up about 0.9% today. Citi, yeah, up about 0.8%. Wells Fargo right now catching a lift, up 0.1% after they were in the red on the open. Look at the Dow catching a bid, man. 31,250 for the Dow. All right, let's see what else I had pulled up. Anything? Yeah, here's a good one to leave you with. Don't make impulse buys on Amazon Prime Day, folks. Find something that you might need, but don't make them as an impulse buy. That's a good one to end with, because we all need. Seems like impulse buys, they're too easy for all of us to make. But hey, you're in the market for a 32-inch smart TV for $50. Can't beat that. And we're going to end with that picture again of that James Webb Space Telescope. They're putting out more images today. Remember, folks, a grain of sand in the sky is what that image is. Pretty remarkable. All right, folks, thanks so much for starting your day off with me. Stay tuned. We got Basil Chapman live up next. Larry Pesavento, live programming all day, folks, at TFNN. Have a great Tuesday.